Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about retro video games.
So, they found it again, have they? I thought we'd taken care of it.
The forces of evil are persistent, sir.
I'm getting too old for this. Who have we got lined up to deal with this problem?
Murphy, sir.
Oh, no, not Murphy.
Afraid so, sir.
What about Spade or Marlowe?
Dead, sir.
I'm a self-professed fan of FMV games. I've reviewed a number of them on this channel, though none of them have been very good. So today I thought I'd take the time to review an FMV game that I actually think is a good game, and not just an interesting relic of gaming's past. It's Under a Killing Moon. Under a Killing Moon was developed by Access Software and released for PC in 1994. It's an FMV adventure game where you play the private investigator Tex Murphy, who unwittingly gets involved in stopping the crusade of a dangerous cult. Right from the start, the game has gravitas, due in large part to the voice of James Earl Jones as the big PI in the sky, who bemoans that Tex is next in line to save the world, and quotes some Poe for good measure.
No pestilence has ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal, the redness and horror of blood.
Man, I could listen to that all day. As we first meet Tex, he tells us that the year is 2042. Nukes used in World War III had split the population into two classes: mutants, who were affected by the radiation, and norms, who escaped unscathed. Tensions between the two groups are rising. And Tex, well, he's down on his luck. Broke, hungover, jobless. His first goal, and yours, is to find a new case.
My name's Tex Murphy. I'm a private detective. Or at least I used to be.
As soon as you gain control of Tex, it's clear that this is not your typical adventure FMV game. While most FMV games around this time, like Night Trap, Phantasmagoria, or Gabriel Knight 2, use set backgrounds that can only be viewed from one angle, Under a Killing Moon lets you roam around a 3D environment in first-person view. While in 2017, the textures leave something to be desired, it looked pretty amazing in 1994. Especially, as pointed out on this box insert, if you had 16 megabytes of random access memory. Moving through the world does feel a little awkward now, as you move completely with your mouse, and look up and down with the arrow keys, or adjust your eye level with shift and control.
Frilly panties. I hope they aren't Sal's.
This isn't the most usable layout, and takes a little getting used to. However, there are ways to get around having to move a lot in most areas of the game, as it features a great fast travel system that can take you where you want to go. I'm a big fan of the game's interface. While movement mode is done in full screen, pressing space to switch to investigation mode changes things up considerably. Your current view is in the top left, where you can interact with objects and people on the screen, with captions for dialogue underneath. You can see your inventory or topics of conversation in the top right, and commands in the bottom right. Everything you need is easily viewable and accessible. While Under a Killing Moon touts itself as an interactive movie, and there are certainly an abundance of cutscenes, there is also a lot more player interaction and actual gameplay than a lot of other FMV games. It doesn't take long to find Tex a case.
Sounds like you're in the market for a PI.
Rook's pawn shop has been robbed and a pricey bracelet stolen. You have to look for physical evidence and question the people of Chandler Avenue to crack the case.
Footprints about a size 14.
The residents include Chelsea, the streetwise owner of the newsstand, who always has the inside scoop.
It might be a dead end, but I seem to remember that the guy had these bright green eyes and a tattoo of an anchor on his arm.
And Clint, who lives in a dumpster and is nursing a wicked chocolate addiction.
Look, I'll warn you right now, I'm almost out of chocolate syrup and I'm not in a good mood.
Once you've found enough information about your culprit, you can plug it into your crime-link computer, a cool idea that is sadly never used again, and set a trap for the perpetrator. This first case really eases you into the game mechanics and Tex's world. It's on day 2 that things really open up after Tex gets a new fax machine, which brings in a much more important and complicated case.
You have a fax.
The vision of the future this game has is an interesting one. While there are flying cars and off-Earth saloons, there are also fax machines and photographs that need to be developed before you can see them. If we're still using fax machines in 2042, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm the Countess Renier. Please, have a seat.
Tex's new case introduces him to a wealthy countess who's looking for her stolen property, a crystal statuette of a bird, much like the one we saw being discovered by cultists in the game's opening. Gee, I hope it won't be used for anything sinister. It will. From here, we're off to the races. Tex has to track down the statuette, break into a high-security apartment, infiltrate a corporation that does genetic research, and uncovers a vast and evil conspiracy which aims to wipe out all the mutants and leave the Earth to the genetically pure. This is why you have to punch Nazis. Tonally, this game could have been a mess. A crusade for genetic purity is a very heavy topic. There's an obvious influence from 40s film noir, especially those featuring hard-boiled detectives and stories full of murder, betrayal, and femme fatales.
Let this be a reminder to you not to repeat your mistakes. If you fail, I will see you in hell.
But at the same time, the game's got jokes. Tex has an amusing quip about every object you can examine.
Well, this must be the GRS patron saint of evil.
There are also a lot of puns
Two antique knights. I'll bet Rook wouldn't mind capturing these.
and jokes about pop culture.
I like to stand by these, waiting for a glimpse of Rita.
There are some
I don't trust
cutscenes
these
which are
side-eyes.
downright
Been with me
goofy.
since the beginning. You want some of this, huh? Bam, bam! Hey, bam, bam, bam! Bam!
Somehow, it all comes together with a good balance of serious moments and comic relief. Amusement in FMV games is often, shall we say, unintentional. Bad acting, bad writing, and silly action scenes combine in a way that's cringeworthy and makes us laugh at it rather than with it. Under a Killing Moon features decent writing and competent main actors. It's not without a certain cheese factor, but it demonstrates a lot of self-awareness. You get the feeling that when it's being corny, it's doing it on purpose. While the performances of smaller characters differ in effectiveness, the game really relies on Tex, who is played by Chris Jones. The same Chris Jones who directed the game, designed the game, and was the CFO of Access Software. A finance executive and game designer deciding to star in his own game? What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. Nothing went wrong. He did good. The cast is bolstered by some more well-known actors. Brian Keith plays Tex's estranged mentor, the Colonel.
Because apparently you never learned the first rule of a PI. And never, ever betray your friends. Now, friendship goes beyond blood and race and politics. You gotta find out who your friends are, then you hold on to them.
Russell Means plays the Chameleon, a shapeshifter who's also after the crystal statue.
My ability has gotten us nowhere. Capricorn got there before me. They're always one step ahead of me. It's like they can read my mind.
And Margot Kidder plays a bartender in a sketchy saloon Tex finds himself in.
So, you're Tex Murphy. Well, we're gonna make your trip as comfortable as possible. Nighty-night!
The game's music is fantastic and really fits the mood of the game. The intro to each day in particular is perfect. That jazz sax. In terms of difficulty, I think the challenge the game provides is ideal. There are inventory puzzles which are fairly straightforward. There's not a whole lot of moon logic here, even when we're orbiting the moon. There are also puzzles like reassembling torn up notes, code cracking, and guessing passwords to get into safes. There aren't a ton of these, but the ones available are enjoyable. There's only one puzzle I thought was bad, and it involved reviving someone who had been put in stasis. You have to deliver oxygen, different drugs, and increased temperature in order to get the revival right. As far as I've ever been able to tell, the only way to do this is trial and error, which gets a little tedious.
How was I supposed to figure out that stupid stasis panel? It's hardly fair to give me only one crack at it.
Well, okay.
There are also conversational puzzles.
Well, hello, stranger.
Conversation options are well done. Rather than list out exactly what text will say, the text option will give an idea of the attitude that text will have. You often need to choose the correct options in order to progress and get the information you need, like tricking a security systems expert into telling his secrets.
Yeah? I'm in the confidential business too. Say, why don't we swap trade secrets?
Apparently, you have some trouble hearing. Don't bother stopping by again.
Sometimes failure isn't a big deal and you'll get to try again, but sometimes it can result in a game over and being admonished by James Earl Jones for being foolish.
Go back and try not to get yourself killed again. You will know when the time is at hand.
If you do get stuck, the game has a great hint system. You can get very specific step-by-step hints about what you should do next. It's a great way to get a nudge in the right direction without revealing the entire solution to something. For me, the biggest source of difficulty was usually due to missing something I was supposed to pick up. Though it never gets to the point where you need to pixel hunt, some items can be difficult to see. Under a Killing Moon is an enjoyable game that never fails to put a smile on my face. Though there could be a few more puzzles, and there are in the next game in the series, it's full of likable characters, funny quips, and an exciting story that should keep you engaged the whole way through. Tex Murphy is one of my favorite gaming detectives, and I recommend this to any FMV or adventure game fan. All the Tex Murphy games can be found on GOG.
Okay, let's do it one more time.
Typical director. That's perfect. Let's do it one more time.
Let's just...
I can never understand that logic from directors.
Perfect, that's the best I've ever seen.
Let's do it one more time.
If you want more FMV, check out my review of Phantasmagoria, or if you want more cinematic detective games, check out my review of Snatcher. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.